With Premier League stars lighting up the roster and a seemingly clear path to the 2026 World Cup, Jamaica's golden generation was supposed to be writing a legendary comeback story. This was the team destined to fulfill a nation's footballing dreams. So how did that dream campaign steer so off course, turning into a journey of chaos, infighting, and controversy? This is the story of how Jamaica's most talented team ever is flirting with disaster. On paper, this is the Jamaican team fans have been fantasizing about for decades. The squad is absolutely stacked with talent forged in the toughest leagues on the planet. You've got the jaw-dropping pace of Aston Villa's Leon Bailey. You've got the defensive wall that is Brentford's Ethan Pinnock. Then you add the goal-scoring and creative firepower of players like Demarai Gray and Bobby De Cordova-Reid. This wasn't just a good team. This was a squad that looked ready to challenge the best in the region. And the timing? It couldn't have been better. The 2026 World Cup, hosted right next door in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, expanded to 48 teams. With the hosts qualifying automatically, the road for a team like Jamaica looked clearer than ever. The region's traditional powerhouses were out of the qualifying picture, leaving a wide-open lane. This was supposed to be their moment. The stars had aligned. The talent was there. The opportunity was massive. The expectation wasn't just to qualify. It was to cruise through qualification and show up to the World Cup as a team to be feared. But as Jamaica is learning the hard way, the gap between potential and reality can be a painful one. The promise of this golden generation was about to run headfirst into a wall of chaos and mismanagement. Instead of a victory lap, the road to 2026 has been a chaotic stumble. While the Reggae Boyz have managed to stay in the hunt, the journey has been anything but smooth, marked by shocking results and off-field drama. After navigating the early stages, a 2-0 loss to Curacao in October 2025 was a serious wake-up call. Things got even shakier in the final match days of automatic qualifying. A stunning 1-1 draw away to Trinidad and Tobago, where they conceded a late goal, put their World Cup dreams in serious jeopardy. The final day was a nightmare at home. In front of their own fans in Kingston, needing a win, Jamaica could only pull off a goalless 0-0 draw against Curacao. That single result sent Curacao directly to the World Cup and condemned the so-called golden generation to a high-stakes, last-chance playoff tournament. They had tripped at the last hurdle, squandering a golden ticket. The fallout was swift. Head coach Steve McLaren, who was only appointed in August 2024 after his predecessor's departure, resigned following the failure to qualify automatically. Now, the team that started with so much hope is facing a do-or-die playoff against New Caledonia, with the winner moving on to face DR Congo for one of the final World Cup spots. The campaign has left a trail of questions and a nation wondering, how could a team with this much talent fail so spectacularly? To get it, you have to understand the legacy they're all living under. Every Jamaican football fan holds 1998 sacred. The Reggae Boyz of '98 weren't the most gifted squad, not by a long shot. They didn't have the Premier League pedigree of today's team, but they had something far more powerful: unity, hunger, and a spirit that just wouldn't break. Led by the Brazilian coach René Simões, they were a true band of brothers. They were a mix of local heroes like Theodore Tapper Whitmore and Warren Barrett, blended with determined British-based players like Robbie Earle and Dion Burton. Simões didn't just coach a team, he built a family. They battled through a grueling 19-match qualification and the entire nation rallied behind them, creating a cultural movement that was bigger than football. Their ticket was punched in a legendary home game against Mexico, but their defining moment came in France at the World Cup. After tough losses to Croatia and a 5-0 beating by Argentina, they went into their final match against Japan with only pride on the line. They delivered a performance for the ages. Theodore Whitmore, the hometown hero, scored 2 incredible goals to seal a 2-1 victory, Jamaica's first and only win at a men's World Cup. That '98 team set the standard. They were more than a football team. They were national heroes who showed what was possible when talent meets heart. They played for the jersey, for the fans, for the nation. And that's the giant shadow looming over the 2026 squad. Fans look at today's players and see individual stars, but they don't see the fire that made the '98 team legends. They see Premier League talent, but they don't see the unity that carried a team of underdogs to the world stage. So who's to blame for this mess? The answer is complicated, tangled in a web of failures from the locker room all the way up to the boardroom. First, there's the coaching chaos. The journey to 2026 was supposed to be led by Heimir Hallgrimsson, but he resigned in the summer of 2024. Reports pointed to a total breakdown between him and the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, with the coach growing tired of administrative issues and a lack of professionalism. His replacement, Steve McLaren, then quit himself after failing to lock down automatic qualification. This revolving door at the top created a massive leadership vacuum. And that brings us to the Federation. For years, the JFF has been hammered with accusations of mismanagement. Aston Villa's Leon Bailey publicly announced he was taking a break from the national team in 2024, citing a stunning lack of professional standards. He talked about players having to book their own flights and being given shoddy equipment, like women's shirts printed for the men's team. His complaints echoed those from the women's national team, the Reggae Girls, who also voiced their utmost disappointment with the JFF over subpar planning and resources before their own World Cup. For years, the Federation has also been under financial restrictions from FIFA, another clear sign of deep, long-standing problems. Finally, you have to look at the players. While they're dealing with a dysfunctional system, there's been a clear failure to connect as a team. On the field, they often look more like a collection of brilliant individuals than a unified squad. There's been public drama, like Bailey being suspended for breaking curfew just before he announced his break, which only adds to the sense of chaos. Combine coaching instability, a flawed federation, and a squad that can't find its chemistry, and you've got the perfect recipe for a disaster. To really get the frustration boiling over in Jamaica, you have to understand what football means to the country. It's way more than a sport. It's a source of national pride, a shot at global recognition, and a symbol of what the small island nation can do on the world stage. The 1998 Reggae Boyz captured the world's attention and put Jamaica on the football map. They made the country believe that anything was possible. That legacy is a double-edged sword. It's an inspiration, but it also sets an incredibly high bar. For fans who remember that magical '98 run, watching this current team, the most talented group of players the country has ever assembled, stumble and struggle is agonizing. This isn't just about a missed opportunity. For many, it feels like a betrayal. A betrayal of the fans who pour their passion and money into supporting the team. A betrayal of the '98 legacy. And, ultimately, a betrayal of the incredible talent in the squad itself. The feeling across Jamaica and the diaspora is that a golden opportunity is being thrown away. Fans watch their heroes shine for their clubs in Europe and can't understand why that magic vanishes when they put on the national jersey. The whole situation has created a deep sense of disillusionment, with most fingers pointing squarely at years of failed leadership from the JFF. But what do you think? Who is most to blame for the Reggae Boyz' struggles? Is it the players, the constant coaching changes, or the Federation's leadership? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So here we are, a golden generation on paper, a chaotic campaign in reality. A team torn apart by coaching instability, player frustration, and systemic failures from a federation that has lost the trust of almost everyone. The dream of a grand return to the World Cup has been reduced to a desperate, last-chance fight in a playoff. It's a story of wasted potential. But is it over? Not quite. The talent that sparked all this hope is still there. Leon Bailey is reportedly set to return for the crucial playoffs. Key players like Demarai Gray and Ethan Pinnock are still in the squad. The raw materials for a great team are still there. The question is, can they finally find the leadership, unity, and heart that's been missing for so long? Can they pull themselves out of this chaos and salvage their World Cup dream? Or will this go down in history as Jamaica's greatest ever team and its biggest ever disaster? The final chapter is still unwritten, but it's going to take a monumental effort to give this story a happy ending. Do you think this 2026 team can match the heroes of 1998? Comment below. And if you love stories like this, subscribe for more football documentaries.